Hi there. In this video we will build on what we've already talked about in the past regarding linear systems. We solve them using graphing, elimination, and substitution. And these techniques are very useful for solving these kinds of problems. In this case it's problems with numbers, much like the question you see below here. In the future I will also do videos on distance time type problems, mixture problems, and other types of problems where linear systems becomes very useful for figuring out the answer. In this case, we have number questions. So the word sum is used, and that means adding. And it says the sum of two numbers is 72. So your math teacher may want you to write like a let statement, like let x be the bigger number. Okay? The bigger number, and then let y be the smaller number. Okay, but either way we have two numbers, and I'm gonna maybe not spend too much time doing the let statements each time because we have 4 questions to do together today, and I just want to get through them quickly with you. But know that in the beginning of these kinds of questions most teachers will want you to say what x and y are to begin with. Okay, having said that, let's keep going. So it says the sum of two numbers is 72. So x plus y is 72. Okay, and their difference, which means subtraction, is 48. Okay, that means x must be bigger than y. If x is bigger than y and we subtract, we get a positive answer here. So thank goodness we made x the bigger number and y the smaller number. Okay, now if we had to choose elimination or substitution here, I would pick elimination because I can see a positive y here and a negative y here. These will eliminate, okay, if we add these two systems or equations together. So we'll literally just start adding these all up. X plus x is 2x, okay? I'm not including the y beside it because positive y and negative y, they cancel. Okay, they become 0. 72 plus 48, you can do that quickly on a calculator if you like. 72 plus 48 will give us 120. Divide both sides by 2 to get the final answer. X is 60. And the way you want to get the y is just simply take 60 and substitute it in either here or here. Okay, so x plus y is 72. Well, that's the same as saying 60 instead of the x. We're going to write the 60 plus y is 72. Subtract 60 from both sides, so minus 60, and you should get 12. Let's see if this makes sense. 12 plus 60 do make 72. And 60 minus 12 will give us 48. So we now know that this checks out. And you could put a sentence answer here and say, the bigger number is 60 and the smaller number is 12, and you're done. Okay, so let's try another question together. Once again, we'll make x the bigger number and y the smaller number. I'm not going to write that out here each time, just to save some time. One number is 4 times the other number. So what they're saying here is one number is 4 times bigger than the other number. Okay, so that means x is 4 times bigger than y. Okay, it takes 4 times y in order to equal x, and that's why we write 4 times y. Because x is bigger, we have to go 4 times y in order to equal x. I've said that a couple times. I hope that's sinking in about why I just wrote that. Okay, let's look at the next sentence. 6 times the smaller number, okay, so 6 times the smaller number, which we know is y, plus 1/2, there's a half, of the larger number, which is x, will equal 212. What are the two numbers? Okay, in this question here, I wouldn't use elimination. You could, but we won't use it because it looks much more straightforward to use what we call substitution. That's where we simply take whatever we see here, it says x equals 4y. Wherever we see x, we're going to write 4y instead of x. So we're literally going to put the 4y right here. So we can rewrite that 6y plus 1/2 of 4y, or half times 4y, will equal 212. Now a half times 4, we know a half of 4 is 2. Okay? So this becomes 2y. So 6 plus 2y is 8y. And finally, if we were to make a little more room here, 212 divided by 8, you can use a calculator if you like, because it's not exactly an answer that's immediate. It's not a whole number, it has a decimal. And it's 26.5 or 26.5. So what that means is the smaller number is 26.5. So if we want to know the bigger number, remember 4 times the smaller number will give us x. So let's just take 26.5 and multiply by 4, and you get 106. So x is going to be 106. Now if we wanted to check that using this equation down below, we could. 6 times 26.5, so 26.5 times 6, I'm using a calculator, is 159. And half of 106 is 53. So if we were to add these two up, 159 plus 53, we should get 212. And I just verified that on the calculator. We do. So we know that these two answers are correct, and we could put a sentence answer. The bigger number is 106, and the smaller number is 26.5. Thank you very much. Let's move on. The difference between two numbers is 45. Once again, we would write the larger number is x, the smaller number is y. Okay? So x minus y apparently is 45, according to that first sentence. 3 times the larger number less 5 times the smaller number. Less means subtract again. So 3 times the smaller number minus 3 times the bigger number minus 5 times the smaller number will equal 75. So what are the two numbers? Once again, a system of equations is pretty quick here. We could use substitution if we wanted to. I'm going to use elimination. You can try substitution if you like. How would I do it? Well, I'm going to multiply this top one by -3. I'm going to multiply each of these by -3. The reason why, it makes a -3x, which will cancel with this 3x. As long as you do that -3, as long as you multiply all three of these by -3, multiply that by -3, multiply this by -3, then we'll be fine. So this ends up being +3, because -3 times another negative will give us a +3. Okay? This here would be 45 times -3, so 45 times -3 would be -135. And then all we have to do is add these two equations up. These two are going to cancel. And -5 and +3 will still leave us with -2. And 75 minus 135 is -60. And then we divide both sides by -2. We end up with 30. So if y is 30, our original equation up here was x minus y is 45. X minus y was 45. Let's sub in for y. So x minus 30 is equal to 45. Then we bring the 30 over, and we get x is 75 because we're adding 30 to both sides. And if you were to check that out here, you would see that this is true. So the larger number is 75, the smaller number is 30, and you could verify that right here. But I'm just thinking I should hurry up here, finish this off for you, because there still is one more question to go. Here it says Bert earns an hourly wage plus tips. Okay, 1 week, he worked 12 hours and he made $117. Okay, so Bert earns an hourly wage. So over here you could write hourly wage. Let's let W equal hourly wage. Whoops. W is equal to hourly wage. T will equal the tips, or be the tips. I shouldn't really put an equal sign there, but I'm just doing that to be quick. So 1 week he worked 12 hours. So he had 12 hours of his hourly wage, so 12 times W, which is the hourly wage, plus tips. Unfortunately, we don't know how many tips, and that's $117. Now, the next sentence. The next week he worked 10 hours. Okay, he worked 10 hours, so 10 times the hourly wage. And he earned the same amount in tips. Thank goodness, because we can just put the T there again. He earned the same amount in tips. This is the same number. And that time, he made $110. Okay, so he made $110. He had worked 10 hours. So what is Bert's hourly wage? Wow, normally this would seem a little bit tricky. We're going to do a system of equations. We're going to use elimination because it's quickest. Multiply each of the numbers down below here. Multiply this lower one. Let's multiply it by -1. So -1 times that, -1 and -1. All that does is change the sign. So we're going to have 12 minus 10 would give us 2W. These two would cancel, which is what we were hoping to do, eliminating them. And 117 minus 110 is 7. That means if we divide both sides by 2, we know that his hourly wage is $3.50. And if we were to check this answer out, we could solve for the tips. We could say 12 times 350. Well, 12, I'm going to multiply that on my calculator. I get 42. So 42 plus tips is equal to $117. So what that means, if you subtract 42 from both sides, that means he got $75 in tips each time. Let's see if that works. 10 times 350 is $35 plus 75. Let's see, 10 times, that's 35 plus 75. And sure enough, you get 110. So you could write a sentence at the end of this and say, Bert had an hourly wage of $3.50, and by the way, he made $75 in tips each day. But see how a system of linear equations like this was a quick way to solve these problems. Of course, we could have just graphed this using something like Desmos and find the point of intersection, and we could figure out these answers as well. But I hope that this showed you how to use elimination and substitution to solve word problems like this. Okay, more word problems to follow, other types of word problems to follow, but hopefully one of these types will help you in your own problems. Okay,